Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Wrestling Paradox Podcast. It is on a special night. We are bringing a special interview to you. This interview should have been brought to you a long time ago, unfortunately, about 3 weeks ago. But we had connection issues and we got through it. Ladies and gentlemen, Wrestling Paradox Podcast is brought to you by M&J Ecological 305-697-2258. Make sure you reach out to Marcus Andrade for all your pest control needs. Make sure you reach out to CCW on Twitter at CCWFL if you want to be a wrestler and you live in the state of Florida. And that's how you become a wrestler. Is just move to Florida and you become a wrestler and you fall in love with Publix. Two things that guarantee to happen. So we're going to get right into it. I paid this man twice because I wasted his time the first time, and my deepest, sincerest apologies from the bottom cockles of my hearts, Dr. Eric Christopher.
How are you going to start the podcast saying, oh, we had connection issues, but we got through it? No, we didn't. If we got through it, where is it? Like, it nowhere. It's gone forever.
It's going to be on WWE archives here in about 10 years.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly the lost Dr. Christopher interview. It was an incredible interview. Everyone's missing out terribly. It was awesome, and I'm pretty sad that it didn't get aired. It didn't work out, but we're here again.
We are going to attempt to recreate that interview, but just like the NWO, nothing is organic anymore, and we don't know what we might end up with the BWO of interviews tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing.
Hey, but the BWO was over.
The BWO was over, and this interview is going to be over.
Not wrong there, yeah.
I got some words for you, Juice James. I got some words for you. But that's not why we're here right now. Eric Christopher, how you doing, my friend? Welcome back to the Paradox.
I'm doing pretty good. I'm happy to be back. Hopefully, you finally fixed the internet in the trailer park and we're good to go.
Thanks, Dad. Copy.
So is it a single wide or do you have a double wide or is it a modular home?
Well, I'm a double wide, so what do you think my home is?
Triple wide, gotcha.
Exactly.
All right, we're not talking about the elephant in the room anymore.
Speaking of, we did this interview before Nashville, which was Enter the Machine with Brian Cage. And then Enter Machine came and gone. We tried to do an excerpt there for your interview. Unfortunately, got a little ram jam there. And that's going to be in the archives as well. But your client, Mr. Juice James, had an amazing match in Nashville. And I'm going to let you tell the world what happened.
Yeah, of course. It was quite exciting. We issued an open challenge to anyone that CCW had to offer. Bo Tavian couldn't hack it, couldn't compete that night. But, what was it? Jake Shepard, I believe his name was, stepped up to the plate in all of his massive triple wide glory as well. And just got so close, but so far away. And Juice James came out on top, started the shriek, so to speak, that we're going to be on in CCW until he gets all the way to the top. I'm excited.
That's definitely what you want to hear right there. Yes, it seems as if since Juice James has aligned himself with Dr. Eric Christopher, Juice James has had some positive outlooks inside the wrestling ring. How much is that accounted to?
It's not without obstacle either, like CCW, they've tried their best to put the biggest and the baddest people that they've got up against Juice, whether it be the Bus or Jake Shepard, et cetera, et cetera. They've tried and tried, but Juice is overcoming. He's overcoming, and I'm proud of him. He's doing good.
And I would say, being at both matches, being at both shows, that Mr. Shepard gave Juice a run for his money. Great match, especially for a man for his size.
Yeah.
Man of many words speaks little. Yes. So Juice James picked up the win. Dr. Eric Christopher didn't get really interfered, so we got to give Juice James the win there, solid and clean all the way through. I was ringside for that, and it was an amazing match. And Juice James at this point looks unstoppable, and with one of our favorite managers personally, We're gonna see how high Juice James can go. But we want to talk about Eric Christopher tonight. And
You were saying our favorite manager. Oh, I thought you were talking about Rafisi. Oh, but we're just saying he's our favorite because he's on our show right now, right?
what are you talking about? No. Eric Christopher is our favorite manager.
Oh,
I
but
think,
you
I
but you
think,
said last night. You said last night Rafisi was your favorite manager.
I
Those
think
words never
Chris,
left my mouth.
I think Chris could really he really needs some alternative therapy right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, gosh,
I,
dude.
I'm, luckily, we could do editing now in the new video. We're just gonna edit that part out. Um, Mike, clip it.
It's
Clip
called a work. It's called a work daddy.
it.
Like,
So let's touch some base on what we talked about in our previous interview, because I really want to get a lot of out there. There's a lot of great information about you, and what people really want to hear. And I want to know again how you kind of got into this manager role, and where you took that turn in wrestling and decided to become a manager, and if you were a talent at some point, where you went to school.
yeah, of course. So, yeah, obviously, like I've mentioned before, as a kid, everyone who's a wrestling fan, one day dreams of those big moments, the bright lights, and becoming professional wrestler, becoming world heavyweight champion, competing at WrestleMania and whatnot. I was no different, and so along the way, since I was 4 or 5 years old, I decided I want to do this. I want to be involved in wrestling. I want to be like my idols. I want to be so much more. And the journey started to really even feel real probably around 2010ish. Started talking to a promotion about possibly training with them. Things didn't really work out. Not that like I couldn't hack it or something, I was too young at the time. But so around like 2013 or so I was attending a NXT live event, met up with a promoter there, introduced myself. I was kind of involved in marketing at the time. So I was like, hey, I would love to help out however I can, whether that be like designing your flyers, doing sound at events, doing whatever it takes to just get my foot in the door. And that's exactly what happened. Less than a few weeks later, I was at their next independent show, just ringing the bell. That first show, I was just ringing the bell. That's all I needed, was just to ring the bell. I was involved. And long story short, I eventually started to get more involved, like designing their stuff and doing the music and booking the matches, running the shows, et cetera, et cetera. But along the way, they did open up their school. It was called the Proving Ground in Port St. Lucie, Florida. It's not open anymore, so don't even try looking it up. But yeah, it, and I did start to train to become a professional wrestler. I met Andy the Bus there, and we've since crossed roads and not as friends, but overall he's a good guy. He's a bus driver. Hopefully he can get a better career eventually, but he's doing good for himself. Did eventually start training there, but along the way, around 2015, I got involved in a storyline with a wrestler by the name of Nathan Vane, and it kind of made sense for me to potentially be a manager, but kind of against Nathan Vane, because he had tombstoned me. And so we brought in a talent, and like I mentioned in the first interview, first time I ever managed was EC3. And at the time, he was TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Very, very big deal. I oftentimes, in the moment, I didn't really think about it. But looking back, I'm like, wow, that's pretty freaking ridiculous. But yeah, the moment I got that first taste of managing, the moment I was able to be at ringside, and ultimately you have the crowd in the palm of your hands without having to get hurt. And I enjoyed that aspect of it. So yeah, I was like, this is for me. This is what I want to do. And I was like, I'm gonna make a career out of this. I'm gonna strive as hard as I possibly can. And shortly thereafter, I teamed up with Chico Adams and got my PhD. The rest is history.
Oh, he's the poet and didn't know it.
You know, you obviously, okay, so starting in 2010. So that's where it all started, and now we fast forward to 2021. And you have your own line of shirts out, obviously, that everybody can pick up. You can check it out right there. Well, you got to say something to have the camera pick you up.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So Dr. Christopher, you can get all my shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/Dr. Eric Christopher. I've got about 4 different designs. Although this one is going to be available at shows. Actually, I believe starting in Port St. Lucie for CCW St. Lucie Showdown. Pick them up, grab them, or go to Pro Wrestling Tees whenever you feel the need.
Well, I know you got a couple different colors of that shirt, so make sure you save me the white one, extra large, on the 20th show. That's the anniversary show.
Yeah, the white one is exclusive to events. The red one is exclusive to Pro Wrestling Tees.
Beautiful. So, I just purchased that one because I have an interview coming up with a person of interest of you, your client, Mr. Juice James, and I want to know your thoughts on Dr. Pepper, sir.
Oh man, look at the shirt. What do you think? I love.
What do you think his thoughts are, Juice James?
Come on. No, obviously Juice absolutely hates Dr. Pepper. He thinks it's the piss of sodas.
The piss of sodas.
So
you know, if you were in a locker room, Juice James, with Randy Orton, I can pretty much guarantee what he would do. He would take Dr. Pepper, open it, and just like in your bag. That's what Randy Orton does. Me, I would just leave the whole can in there. So if you find a can of Dr. Pepper, it was me.
But I gotta be honest with you. You told me weeks ago that
I was gonna do it, but it didn't happen.
And you didn't do it.
I know. We got held up at the airport, and then we were food, and it just it was a long day.
We were less than 2 minutes from a gas station. You could have gone.
I know. I could have.
Throughout the day.
I was just such in shell shock that I got to like discuss your match with you and Juice that I was just in awe that I totally blanked. Do you know
we were all just thinking about how cold it was in that building? That's what we were.
It feels like.
It was very cold in that building.
It was cold in that building. Do you know what it feels like to be around someone that you look up to?
Yeah, I mean, I look in the mirror every day.
Exactly. I was standing next to you, sir. I'm like fanboying out.
Yeah.
You know? Might have been Paul Heyman standing next to me. That's who it might as well have been.
I appreciate the compliment. Trying to compare me to Paul Heyman at all. That really does mean a lot.
I want to play a quick game, if you don't mind. Chris, can we play a quick game?
Yeah, that's fine.
Play The Price is Right.
We are going to play one-word associations. I'm going to say a manager's name, and you're going to say the first word that pops in your mind.
I wager $1.
If you need to say 3 words, I allow 3 words. Try to keep to 1 word.
Okay.
First manager, Paul Heyman.
Great. I don't know. One of the best talkers of all time.
Best talker of all time. I will take that as an answer. Bill Alfonso.
Whistle.
I like that answer. Very good answer. Next, we have Jimmy Hart.
Loud.
I don't think there's anybody that would disagree with you. All right. We are going to go to Jim Cornette.
Absolute goat.
Very nice. Yep. All right. And I'm going to give my last one. And Chris, if you have 1 or 2, you can throw them in. My last one will be Sensational Sherry.
Oh, man. I can't even think of a word on that one. Classic.
Okay. I will take Timeless Classic. Not a problem. Chris, do you have a manager you'd like to ask him about? It was just a quick game that came to my head, and I was like, let me see where he stands, because I want to know how you think.
Okay, I got one. Joel Gertner.
Unfamiliar.
What? Like, you know who Joel Gertner is? No, and that's fine if you don't, because he was a very small crowd. It was ECW. You really had to be an ECW fan to know who Joel Gertner was. He was never on like national big television like WWE or anything like that. I mean, he was obviously at One Night Stand,
I think like as time goes on, we'll start to realize that people my age didn't really watch ECW that much.
Gotcha. Okay.
Um,
I throw out classics over here, and you're just like, hey, how about this like piece of shit Chevy sitting in the shed? Yeah, that one. What do you think?
You'll know Joel Gertner always wore the sport coat with no shirt underneath and his chest hair like all hanging out.
I
And
have a feeling if I saw a picture, I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He played towards the crowd, and he was the Dudley Boys manager.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you. Now I got it. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
The name didn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah. Gotcha. What are your thoughts on the managers of the indie scenes right now?
All right, start lighting the fire. Here comes the heat.
Oh, I love it. Let's burn the bridges, baby.
I know we're gonna burn all of them. I don't like that. So I find that
the questions only get tougher, just so you're aware.
I know they do. I know how you guys work. We've done this technically 3 times now. I've been on here as much as Will Austin. But
speaking of Will Austin, we're gonna talk about intergender matches because he's just one woman that loves to show her power.
I'm not even gonna go there anymore. Yeah, so manager on the indies, I feel like a lot of people to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit, I feel like a lot of people are just out to get themselves over and not the wrestler that they're with. You know, so that's my biggest complaint when it comes to a lot of the times. I don't like to put myself over. I really don't. I'm not actually that big of an egotistical person. I'm just the best. So like when it comes to
it's so amazing. Do you remember? Hold on, I'm so sorry. Do you remember what was his name? Oh god. Who played for Jack Swagger? Dutch Mantel.
Yeah.
He always introduced himself. I'm Dutch Mantel and you're not.
Yeah, another GOAT though. Honestly, I felt like his run, especially the run with Jack Swagger, super underrated.
Amazing. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah. I feel like a lot of the managers on the indies, they're out for themselves. When ultimately our job being out there is to, if you're a bad guy, your job is to get that crowd to boo the wrestler in the ring, not yourself. That's why, like, if you ever notice me, I don't pay that much attention to specific people in the crowd. I don't. Like, you can be yelling at me all you want, I'm probably barely gonna look at you.
Yeah. You'll turn around and give like a generic like wave across the back of the crowd. You're like, yeah, shut up, you know.
Because it's just like you can boo me all you want, but I really want you to boo the guy in the ring. But yeah, and I think like a lot of people might not like that answer, especially people in the business might not really like that. But for me, that's just how I am. That's my job, is to get more attention to what's going on in the ring, and and get people to actually enjoy what they're watching.
Yeah, and you do a great job of that, because whenever somebody puts their hands on you, that crowd pops. That crowd explodes. As soon as you take a bump, they explode.
Yeah, I mean, fans are terrible people. They want to see a doctor who's just trying to help people get beat up. Rude as hell.
Yeah. Chris, please join the conversation. I feel like I'm taking over.
Oh yeah, Chris, I prefer talking to you. Honestly, your Wi-Fi is good.
I'm actually hardwired, but it's okay. So you were talking about like you're supposed to play up to the heel in the ring and make the crowd boo them and everything like that. And it's not more so a question, but to play off what Joe said, is you do that very well. And what I've seen is in your matches, very few far in between times that you actually interfere in where you get handsy with the baby face. And I think that's what tells a great story about a match, is you don't have to have the gimmicks where the manager gets involved, gets handsy, takes a bump or something like that. It's the ring psychology of the manager that makes the match good.
Yeah, I mean, also, I don't have to interfere that much. Have you seen Juice James? He's the best.
Oh yeah, I mean, he did do a great rock bottom to Jack Shepard in the corner.
He takes care of business on his own. Like, I don't need to. I have full faith in him.
100%. I'm glad you do. Someone has to. Joe doesn't. Joe doesn't. He doesn't like his drinks of choice.
We were just recently tagged together in a Facebook post, Dr. Eric Christopher, by our friend Juice James.
Oh.
He tagged us in a Facebook post on a t-shirt that says Dr. PP and it's shaped like Dr. Pepper. And then he called us butt buddies. So he doesn't like Dr. Pepper at all.
It's all good, Well, hopefully I'll have to sit down and talk to him and try to get his focus to be on winning matches and championships and not just making jokes about doctors and peepees.
Yeah, maybe a little alternative therapy.
Yeah, that's reserved. That's reserved.
Reserved for Chris.
Only the people that desperately need it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me ask you, where is the next time we see Dr. Eric Christopher in the South Florida area?
That would be next Friday, actually, in Port St. Lucie, Florida, at the Mid-Florida Event Center for CCW Presents St. Lucie Showdown.
Very nice. Unfortunately, we will not be at that show. I know we are going to Hardcore Cup the night before, presented by CCW with amazing legends such as Sandman and C.W. Anderson. You are going to see a lot of great wrestlers there, such as Alex Ocean. Make sure you guys pick up your tickets at on Twitter, CCWFL, on Facebook, Coastal Championship Wrestling. So, and then Saturday, they have the anniversary show. And we will see you at the anniversary show as well, correct?
Will, yeah. No, April, the month of April and March are crazy busy for me, honestly. So I have St. Lucie Showdown on Friday. Saturday, I will be at Anniversary 17 at Extreme Action Park in Fort Lauderdale. Then I believe the next time you'll see me after that, specifically you, Joe, will be at OCW the following week in Ocala, Florida. So
27.
And then from there, in April, just signed on. I'll be at Bash at the Brew 3.
You finally, beautiful.
Super excited about that. Very, very excited about that.
I've slowly become a huge fan of Juice James. We mentioned this last time on the episode that was never seen. That our first experience with Juice James was at Breaking Chains.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw Juice James that night, came up a little short against Andy the Bus, and you took a huge bump from Andy the Bus where he had both of you guys on top of each other, and that didn't look like too much fun for you.
No. Okay. We'll talk about it though. We'll talk about it. So almost exclusively for the people that were awesome and actually attended that show. I mean, I was doing my due diligence as a psychiatrist, as the manager, so to speak, of Juice James, whatever you want to call me. And I was just checking on him after the match.
You were attacked physically. It was ridiculous.
And then the Bus decides he wants to not even put his hands on me, put his giant stomach on me, and I'm like, yo, dude, not cool.
Completely ridiculous. I was on the phone with the cops, so I was eating popcorn, so I couldn't get my fingers to touch the buttons, but I was trying.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
He had the 911 dialed.
I'm sure eventually, Juice James and the Bus's paths will cross again, and maybe it's time to show the Bus why he's a bus driver and I'm a doctor. Come on, man.
100%.
Don't ever do that again. Bus, if you're watching, don't. No.
Watch it, Bus. You better watch it.
No, I thought we were good.
Yeah, man. Chris, say something.
Yeah.
So, we did touch on this the last time we did this interview, and Joe's internet shitted.
Got ram jammed.
Yeah. What is your views on intergender wrestling? Because in CCW we have the self-proclaimed, best wrestler in the company, Will Austin, saying that he's for intergender wrestling. And on Twitter we got into it with Marina Tucker, and she said that, and she actually also mentioned it on our show, that she's all for intergender if they fit together. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on it?
I would say my thoughts are very similar. If it works, do it. If it doesn't work, don't do it. I mentioned before that if you have a situation where it's like a Brian Cage versus Selena Vega, don't do it. It doesn't make
I
sense.
would pay good goddamn money and write a blank check for that match.
I would too.
But for me, it's like you have a guy who is, I don't even know how much Brian Cage weighs, but like, jacked muscle, could probably crush me, could definitely crush Joe. But then you have Selena Vega who's like 80 pounds, Like, I don't know if people can see it because I'm talking right now, but Joe is flexing and he should really stop. He should really just.
I just destroyed this shirt, guys. I ripped it right here.
Not a muscle, Joe. But yeah, no, I think if it works storyline wise, if it works, visibly, then go for it. But it's definitely a situation where it could be great, but it could also be really, really stupid.
Right.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
I have my thoughts, and I would love to see a match between two people, but I'm not going to comment on it. We are going to see what the future brings. So you have OCW coming up. You have CCW coming up. You have worked for numerous companies in the past. Can you give us a rundown on anywhere that Dr. Eric Christopher has planted his seed?
Oh, planted my seed. That's kinky. But
Oh, stop it.
You're all welcome for that. That's my one dirty joke of the podcast. But what's it called? Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've kind of been all over the place. I call CCW and WXW my home. I've been a part of WXW for 2 years now. Actually, funny enough, 2 days ago, as of this recording on whatever today's date is, March 10th, was my 2-year anniversary at WXW.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. And in fact, I posted on Twitter. I didn't realize it before, but this past Saturday's WXW March to Victory show was my 100th show that I've worked.
Really?
Yeah, 100. Getting old. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, WXW and CCW are my home. But at the same time, I work for OCW all the time. I'm at Riot Pro Wrestling on a very regular basis. And along the way, like there's been like one-off appearances here and there. I've been at Revolt Pro Wrestling in Alabama, along with a lot of other places. But we're all over the place. But yeah, and even more exciting things coming up though. Like I said, there's a lot of fun, exciting things coming up. March and April are very, very, very busy for me, between wrestling events and having my day job as a psychiatrist.
I mean, that's an earful.
Yeah.
No, but you also have to listen to, psychiatrist. So
yeah, I got the joke.
Oh, okay. I was explaining it for Joe.
Yeah,
us higher powers are a little bit.
He was texting the whole time I was talking. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no comment. So, you have I would say you have an abundance of people who are knocking at the door on the office of Dr. Eric Christopher, begging them for Dr. Eric Christopher to take them under his wing and show them the right way. If you could choose, handpick the next person you manage, and where you want to manage them, who is that person and where would you go?
Are we talking like on the indies or
Anywhere.
Like, I don't care. Who do you want to manage? You want to manage like Okada? Like, good for you, dude. Do
no?
good.
I mean, my biggest thing is I look for people like a guy like an Okada, for example, since you just mentioned it. He's got his head on straight. He knows what he's doing. He's got this. I'm more or less looking for people who could use the assistance. People who, whether that be that they're on the edge of a mental break, or they could just use a little bit of motivation, a little bit of push to help them get a little bit further.
Okay, so I'll make this easy for you. Give me three. One, super indies such as CCW, OCW, WXW, Renegade. Give me one from, I would say, we're going to call it mid-card indies, which is Ring of Honor, MLW. And then we're going to go top flight, which is AEW, WWE, TNA, and New Japan. So give me one from each. Give me one from each section. So we'll start with the easy one. WWE, AEW. Start with those.
Yeah, I mean WWE obviously. I would imagine a guy like Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss really need some help mentally.
What a great pairing. That would be awesome.
There is something going on up there that's just not right. Even a guy like Sami Zayn, is kind of starting to lose it a little bit up there. But so I would say WWE wise, I would go that route. If you go to an AEW, a guy like John Moxley.
Answer.
Eddie Kingston's got anxiety problems apparently, so let's talk about that.
Poor guy. He's so buried right now. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
He's got, I think it's PTSD. They probably because all the bombs that went off and everything like that. So
no, the sparklers. Gilbert had better pyro than that.
It was as explosive as the Paradox Podcast logo.
That hurts. Wait, was that a compliment or a bad thing? I don't know if you were shooting me, man.
I had to do this. I had to go that one.
That one. So let's move into your mid-card stancing of MLW, Ring of Honor, shows like that. Who do you see on those shows, like out of those, whatever? Who do you see as somebody that you would want to manage?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not incredibly familiar with Ring of Honor or MLW's product right now.
Okay, perfect.
But I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that could really use a good talking to, and a little bit of help along the way. And if the opportunity presents itself, sure, let's go with it.
Maybe Leo Rush needs a manager right now.
You never know.
And then CCW, OCW, Renegade. Out of those three companies, who is the one person that you see that you're like really, because you have more of a touch on that part of it.
You can't manage them now.
Yes, you can't say Chico Adams or Juice James. I need.
No. I look at especially like the CCW roster. I would say there's a few people that a guy like Agony.
That'd be interesting.
Whoa. I don't know if is he about to kill people? Is he about to hurt somebody? I don't know. But I think he could really use a good talking to, and step into my office and we'll have a good conversation. Even a guy like Jackal, I don't know what his deal is. But I think Bugs is a big one. That one's a big one. Good old Bugs. I think he could really just use some guidance to possibly not be homeless anymore.
He actually might use your couch just to take a nap, not to talk to you.
Yeah, not talk to you.
Fine. That's fine. I am here to help you, Bugs. I am here for any type of assistance. You've been homeless since your debut in wrestling, and it's been a long time. Although I was happy to see that he was finally wearing shoes in Nashville. I don't know who donated those to him, but I'm sure that meant a lot.
I helped donate. Yes,
you donated.
I donated.
You needed it was like 20 degrees, especially even in the venue, and so it's good.
Surrounded by granite. Chris tells everybody it was like an ice box in there, which it was. It was surrounded by granite.
I gotta talk to the powers that be, because that cold.
Not comfortable for Juice James. He is a warm man.
Yeah, he was turned into a smoothie.
Yeah.
Dun,
Can I
dun.
mention a name that I think would benefit from you, and I think that you may benefit from him?
Okay.
Cameron McLeod Stewart. Have you heard of this man?
Nope.
You don't know who CMS is. CMS is new to CCW. 20 years old. Been in all AEW twice already on Dark. The kid's doing something. Jump on. Get him. I think he would be great under the tutelage of Dr. Eric Christopher, because from Dr. Eric Christopher we can all learn something, I believe.
It's true. It's true. We can all learn something every single day. It's an adventure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite an adventure it is. And we are excited to be on that adventure with you, Dr. Eric Christopher. We are very excited to see you constantly building and growing your alliance and your tribe around you, as some people
His
like
practice.
His practice, growing that
There's
on.
the medical term.
And we're excited to be a part of that ride with you. And we want to thank you for coming on tonight and opening up for us and giving us a little peek behind the curtain of the life of Dr. Eric Christopher.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm always willing to come on back on whenever you guys want, talking and everything, and especially once this next couple of weeks are over with, next couple of months are over with. CCW's on a roll. I know you guys are super involved with CCW now, and here we go. Like, you guys are always talking about how CCW's they built that launch pad. Now the rocket's ready to go up. So
I mentioned this to the powers that be at CCW, and Summer Glory 13 was June last year, and I feel like that's where CCW really blew up and kicked off, and that was the start of that. And believe it or not, that was the Wrestling Paradox podcast first show of CCW. So I don't want to say that we may be the reason they're blowing up, but I like to think that we're contributing.
Yeah, and here we are almost a year after that, and I don't know if you guys saw on social media the announcement about this year's Summer Glory.
Yes.
But I'm excited. Brian Cage coming back. I'm super excited. And
excited to get back to Extreme Action Park. That I can tell you, what a great venue that was.
Yeah, and that's where the anniversary show is going to be on Saturday.
Yep. Very excited to get back in there.
So I for one am very excited. I feel like one of the lost gems of our last podcast, last interview that never got aired, was me talking about CCW and how I felt like it was bringing back the territories.
This is deja vu, because last night we did an interview with Vic Larson and he said the exact same thing.
Really?
Almost word for word.
Smart guy. One other guy that probably could use some mental health.
A lot of it. There's something wrong with that guy.
but yeah, no, I truly believe that. I talk to Nelio pretty regularly, and he tells me all about how every day, I swear, that man is adding another show to CCW's schedule. And
dude, he's gonna have December booked by August.
Yeah, I can't keep up. Dude, I truly can't keep up. It's getting to the point now where I'm like, I don't know if I can work with other promotions because there's so many CCW shows.
Yes, and with Bash at the Brew being monthly, Jake St. Patrick mentioned the other day. He's like, I worked 11 shows last year. I'm already at 14 shows this year. I mean,
honestly,
COVID has been a somewhat small blessing for some people, and for independent wrestling, it is starting to blow up because fans are begging for wrestling to come back. They want to go to shows, they want to go to WWE, but they can't go to WWE, so they go to the next best thing in their town. And right now, in the South Florida area, for the Tri-County area, that is CCW. Every Tuesday night, CCW live wrestling on YouTube. And following that is your favorite people, the Wrestling Paradox podcast. So make sure you guys check us out every Tuesday. So Dr. Eric Christopher, we are coming to the end of this great run. I have now paid you twice extremely amounts of money for only one interview that's going to ever be shown. The second one you guys got to pay for. So Dr. Eric Christopher, at this time, this is something that we do regularly. Chris, should I ask him the question?
Which question is that?
You know what question I'm gonna ask.
Oh yeah. I want to hear
Sir?
this. I want to hear it.
You have matching contracts too. WWE, AEW, same amount of dates, same amount of money, clients equal status on both sides. What contract does Dr. Eric Christopher pick up? This is the hardest question of the night, and this is the final question of the night.
It is for sure the hardest question of the night. But I would be lying if I said if there is any wrestler out there right now or any person in the wrestling business that has not dreamed of one day working at WrestleMania, they're a freaking liar. It's just the truth. It's the truth. In my opinion, I guess it's one man's opinion. But so for me, I'd have to say it's hard to pass up that WWE offer. It is. AEW is doing great things. Don't get me wrong. Over the last 2 years, they have blown up the wrestling world and actually, honestly, completely changed the wrestling world. But yeah, you never know. Honestly, I would love to work with AEW one day. I would love to work with WWE one day. Heck, I would love to work with Impact, Ring of Honor, all of them. But I would say the ultimate goal is still, WrestleMania. So WWE is definitely the answer.
100%, definitely. So thank you for that answer, sir. At this time, the floor is yours. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in Wrestling Paradox Podcast. M&J Ecological, thank you so much for all your sponsorship with us. CCW, thank you for the constant support, for all the access to all your talent. We appreciate that. Nelly O'Dan, we owe you guys everything. So at this time, Dr. Eric Christopher, you have an allotted 1 minute, 60 seconds to tell the world why your clipboard is the best clipboard in all the business.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, those clipboards, number one, they're getting pretty expensive. But I would say everyone, whether it's Juice's opponents, Chico's opponents, sometimes they need a little bit of alternative therapy, and what to do on that one. But at the same time, I'd be I'm not gonna rant about my clipboard. Everyone follow me on social media at Wrestling Psych on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Buy my merchandise at prowrestlingtees.com/Dr. Eric Christopher. And Joe, if you ever want me on here, man, next time, you guys are great people. I got you. You don't have to pay me for the next one. All right.
Yes.
Take that as my donation to the thank you for getting better Wi-Fi fund.
Oh, yes. I only had to pay like a little bit extra money a month, and I got like this little thing plugs in my wall. Mike, clip it. No, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Wrestling Paradox Podcast. Dr. Eric Christopher. Make sure you follow him on all social media platforms at the Wrestling Psych, and make sure you guys pick up his merch. Pro Wrestling Tees /Dr. Eric Christopher. That is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hey, yo, hold on, wait 1 second here. What is going on? Hey, Chris, say something stupid.
Something stupid.